State of the Sun Devils with Jeremy Schnell, Jesse Morrison, and Mitch Baraldis, an Arizona Sports podcast.
Hello and welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Jesse Morrison and Mitch Baraldis. I'm Jeremy Schnell. We did one of these yesterday, Jesse, and I know you weren't here, but Mitch was. And this is like a huge emergency episode of State of the Sun Devils because so much has happened today. I was talking in the newsroom today, Jesse and Mitch, about we just need to wait until like midnight tonight and hopefully nothing will happen. Like we should just not do the podcast until midnight tonight and then hopefully nothing will happen.
So we got Damon on tracking news duty, I believe, just in case anything else drops. No, I'm kidding, obviously. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, we had a whole plan to do a podcast tonight to react to like Hines Ward being brought in and everything, which we can kind of get into regarding this new receiver recruit. But like now we got the sanctions coming down and another big name leaving. It's just been a crazy last, like, I don't know, 12 hours or so?
Oh, way more than 12 hours.
Well, if
at this point, we're probably closer to 18, 19 hours that we're working on with this.
It's been and the biggest local story also involves ASU, as ASU, what Mullet Arena will now have more
former home of,
ASU games now that the Coyotes are no longer a tenant of that arena. So it's just been a very interesting week.
Let's start off with the biggest news of possibly ever in ASU history, honestly. This might be the biggest news in ASU history.
There was point-shaving stuff in the 90s.
Okay.
We're tied with SMU, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
This is a big deal. 4 years of probation, as well as fines, vacated wins, and reduced scholarships, as well as recruiting privileges, and then shortened visit windows and such. What does all this mean, Mitch?
So, for those that are unaware, the NCAA, just in the nick of time, I will add, I thought this was a very swift process that they went about handing down these
Taylor
sanctions
Swift's good
for
album
Arizona
came out
State.
Today.
I did not need that tangent right now.
You said Swift.
I did not. Anyway.
Drew Swift.
The point being is that I'm being obviously very sarcastic with how long it has taken the NCAA to hand out these infractions. At the same time, it's not even all the infractions. We'll get into that later. But this really sucks. As if we needed further evidence that Herm Edwards has set back this program further than it needed to be. Here's the evidence today. Oh, by the way, with the evidence, Herm Edwards basically admitted, and he's fine with the infractions and everything of that sort. So, Jesse, we can now fully blame Herm Edwards for setting this football program back several years.
Well, we can blame him still for being oblivious. Antonio Pierce, I still think, is the biggest. I mean, Herm was in charge of everything, or should have been. So I guess it really does fall on Herm. But the Antonio Pierce angle of this is just super annoying to me. And the fact that he is appealing this process is ridiculous. Dude, you don't need to appeal your show cause penalty. You're coaching you're a head coach in the NFL. Just accept the penalty, dude. Like, what is he worried that he's going to get fired from the Raiders? So he needs to come back him. He needs to come back to the college ranks. I'm sure he can catch on in high school or the NFL. Does not need to be appealing this. That's really annoying to me. And then the other thing that is really annoying is the loss of scholarships. Why does Kenny Dillingham have to lose scholarships? He didn't do this. It's not him.
Why do players have to get punished if they wanted to specifically come here? Why do they have to be punished out of the opportunity to play for Kenny Dillingham as a result of the previous regime?
Exactly. And I mean, it could have been worse. The ASU's cooperation and everything, these were level 1 infractions. So it could have been worse. That's the good thing, is that it wasn't worse. And if you go to Chris Cartman from Sun Devil Source's Twitter, he details that this was like the worst of all of these COVID dead period recruiting violations amongst a lot of, the schools that did COVID dead period recruiting violations. So ASU got off kind of easy still.
No.
But it still sucks.
No, this is terrible. Jesse, you don't understand.
It could be a lot worse. That's all I'm saying.
It could be. They've already had a postseason ban. They weren't going to make the postseason last year, but still, they already had a postseason ban, and they have scholarship issues that they're going to have to deal with
but
for multiple years.
It could be even worse than that.
Listen to me. The fact that they have to deal with scholarship issues with all of these people that are gone, minus the president, who has nothing to do with this athletic department most of the time, is ludicrous to me that they are coming down this hard on these kids that had nothing to do with this situation is ridiculous.
All I'm saying, though, is it could have been worse.
Right, but
if ASU had not cooperated.
And if they went quicker, you think if they went quicker with the investigation that they probably would have dropped the hammer harder? Yeah, yes. I think so, because the people that, the people all left at this point. Could they have been fired for cause at that point after these allegations and everything had been settled finally? Yeah, but they left. They're gone. So they just left this program to, have to deal with this crap afterward. It's ludicrous that the NCAA is doing this to these kids, to these coaches, to this athletic department, who still doesn't have to have an athletic director, by the way. Is this going to help them find an athletic director, Mitch? I don't know. Maybe.
It's funny. This is our second consecutive emergency pod, and unfortunately, it is not about a new athletic director hiring.
And Mitch,
that's what I hate the most.
The fact that we've brought that up as who, by the way, every time that we've talked about this, we said, by the way, they still don't have an athletic director.
In case we needed another reminder. By the way, this is something else that maybe we should keep a couple tabs on. John Wilner, who's very tapped in with Pac-12. He's very knowledgeable. He works with San Jose Mercury News Group.
Pac-12.
What's left of the Pac-12?
Pac-2.
He made...
Two-pack.
He just made a comment. It's not a suggestion. I'm sure he's just using the knowledge that he has to make the statement that he did. Something to the ilk of, not many athletic directors survive the type of sanctions that were handed down to Arizona State. Ray Anderson is not in charge of this athletic department anymore, but he's still very much on payroll at the university. And then the other thing that Wilner brought up, and maybe we tangent into this aspect of it, does this affect how much longer Michael Crow wants to be president of the university? Not that he cares so much about athletics.
I don't think it matters. I think Michael Crow is, again, I think that the university outside of athletics is doing great. That, we'll go over and over again. I can say that, the development of the university, the programs at the university, academics at the university, you can make fun of it all you want, but how many years have they been consecutively ranked number one in innovation? It just goes on and on with the academic stuff.
They're going for the decade, Pete, at this point.
Sports are great. We love sports, but and I think that they should care about sports because I care about sports. But in the grand scheme of things, what a college academic professor is going to care about is the academic side and the development side. And in that aspect, they're doing great. So
look, as long as
I don't think he would leave.
As long as all the expansion that's happening with Arizona State at Tempe campus, as long as Chuckbox is not impacted, I'm good. That's all that I care about at this point.
Okay, I want to go back to
only take cash.
They give you an ATM, though. It's fine.
I want to go back to the people that basically get off scot-free in this situation, right? You look at Ray Anderson. You look at Antonio Pierce. You look at Herm Edwards even.
How about Adam Brenneman? He's got a cool podcast, so I've heard.
Adam Brenneman. Zach Hill's in the NFL.
All of these people, cushy jobs right now.
All of them. I don't know what's up with Prentice Gill. I don't know what's up with him.
Oh, I'm sure he'll land on his feet if he hasn't already landed.
And our good friend Jeff Munn brought up a good point earlier today. What's going on in Las Vegas that they haven't asked him about this yet? They haven't asked Antonio Pierce about what's going on with the NCAA investigation that you are implicated in?
Jeremy, do you think that the Davis family really cares?
I'm asking about the media.
Yeah, it's not about the Davis family and whether or not they care.
Well, how come nobody's asked him about this?
I mean, they're doing voluntary OTAs right now. He should be available. They're a week away from the draft. I'm curious if anybody does ask him.
He seems to have been very involved in what happened here.
Send me to Vegas. I'll ask.
Are they coming here for the preseason or any NFL games this year?
I'm not 100%.
They might actually be coming here for the preseason.
I would totally ask him a question. Because I have a lot.
No, we just got to enlist Barry Bloom to ask the question. That's what we should do.
He definitely asked some questions at the Bettman presser today.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he ask questions? I'm not so sure.
No, but let's talk about those people. Do you think that, from bias aside, Mitch,
Okay.
do you think that what happened today is fair?
Well, no. Because as we've iterated a bunch of times already, the only people that have been punished for the most part and in the grandest as a result of these sanctions and these infractions and the violations, etc., is the current regime. That's the only group that has been negatively impacted greater than any other aspect of it. Herm Edwards, by the way, they mentioned it on ESPN in passing today on SportsCenter. It was a half-hour headline, and then boom, they were off.
Well, I mean,
Funny how they didn't mention anything with Herm Edwards about it, huh?
I mean, to be completely honest with you, and I mean, I know that Herm works there and everything, and I think they still would have reported on it if it was Alabama, Georgia, Florida. ASU's 6-18 over the past 2 years.
But this is also the second significant sanction handed down to the university within a 30-40 year period. That's not significant enough to you?
I don't think on the national level it's that significant. In my opinion.
I'm not sure.
ASU athletics is in a really bad spot right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so why should the national media be paying a bunch of attention to ASU athletics? There's just not really much to pay attention to outside of what just happened with the swimming program, but the swimming coach just left. And, the coolest thing that's going to happen around ASU sports is what Marshawn does in the Olympics. And that may or may not get coverage, but it'll be Team USA that still gets the priority, obviously, in this part of the world.
And don't forget about the triathlon team.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
National champions, baby.
Are we done with this topic? Was there anything else that you guys wanted to say? Because I feel like I got my anger out. I feel good now.
So 70-7, according to Chris Cartman's sources, is still intact.
Which is the most important one.
That's cool. That game that was played in that meaningless 4-game season.
They did have to vacate all the other 2 wins that Herm had in the final season, though. That's a real bummer. All 2 of those wins are going to be gravely missed.
And then
That joke did
probation.
not land well, sorry.
Probation just kind of means, again, shout out to Chris for doing a really good job of explaining all this stuff. Because when I read the release, I was like, huh? So, probation means, if you're unaware of this, that they'll be punished more than they would if they weren't on probation if they get in trouble in these next 4 years.
It seems like kind of like a in the eye, slippery slope kind of, right? Like, who makes that decision as to what the harder punishment would be? It's
the NCAA, which makes great decisions all the time.
Anyway.
That was the best joke we've had so far.
Weird that the postseason ban happened. I just don't understand why they would do that if the
because they were cooperating to get, again, Jeremy,
a lesser sentence, which was not good.
I think it's I think it's lost. I really want to reiterate to people that it's lost in translation here that this could have been a lot worse.
They could have gotten the death penalty, yeah. Sure.
No, but it's not. It's come on. It could have been they could have been banned for multiple years from postseason. I don't know for sure.
They weren't going to make the postseason anyway last year.
Okay.
They just did that as a good faith. Hey,
but then
we recognize we did something wrong.
But again, it didn't mean anything in terms of punishment. This punishment was still very bad. So who cares? It's just baffling to me. And then, hey,
I'm just trying to keep it a little bit positive.
Yeah,
we've got positive things we can talk about. This is not one of them.
There's no positives here. And then Ray Anderson still has a job at the university.
Getting paid more than any other university professor, too.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Interesting stuff. Now, Jesse, I know you didn't get a chance to give your thoughts on the Rashada Levitt situation. If you're living under a rock and didn't know, Jaden Rashada has now entered the transfer portal. That is official, has been made official. He got the email back that he has been entered into the transfer portal. Jesse, What are your thoughts?
I'm just sad to see it happen because I was so excited for him at this university. He grew up as an ASU fan. He was probably the most exciting prospect that ASU has had at this university since N'Keal Harry. So it either didn't work out or he's chasing a bag. I don't really know. But in my opinion, what became clear is that Levitt was going to be the starter and was performing to that level in spring ball. And then he decided, and then Rashada decided to go because he saw that I'm not going to win the job here. And he wants to go somewhere where he can win the job. That's kind of my opinion.
The latest on that, by the way, is apparently there's rumblings. I think we mentioned last night, Jeremy, SEC. It's now specifically kind of pointed towards Georgia, which
he would be the third string there.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up next. Our colleague Dave Burns brought up this exact point today. He's not going to be the starter somewhere else. If he's going to Georgia, he's just going for the bag, and then eventually he'll try and take over what Carson Beck will leave behind in what his upcoming final season with the Bulldogs. Like, just what we needed. And then Gambo, he basically referred to ASU as like, we're a minor league university for football. Just waiting for one of the bigger universities to come in. Let me explain. Just waiting for one of the bigger universities to come in and poach from one of these smaller, less funded universities.
Sounds like every sport, including swimming. Swimming.
Swimming.
When Leon Marchand decides to choose Texas after the Olympics are done, we're going to be thrilled, I'm sure.
He ain't coming back to school, buddy.
No. Swimming. Women's basketball, men's basketball.
DJ Horn.
We lost our hockey goalie last night, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. Good,
to
man.
North Dakota.
It must
Why would you want to play at North Dakota over
Wait, North
Arizona
Dakota or
State?
North Dakota State?
No, North Dakota.
Jeez, so not the Bison?
Not the Bison.
Oh, they must have good ice up there or something.
Did you just
I was trying to do dialect there.
Did you try to do a Midwest accent?
No,
like an upper Midwest
I was
accent.
trying to do a bit more of a towny thing, Eh?
So you're Canadian now.
No. I'm
Simpy. That's what you gotta because they'll say that's probably what his teammates call him.
What's your best Shane Doan impression?
My best donor.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's about it.
Donor?
No, I don't go full Jarrett Carlin. I do not do that.
Yeah, my impression is just Jarrett doing Shane Doan.
Yeah, but it's really sad. But that kind of set off a domino effect, right, with the Rashada news.
Well, okay, hold on. Is and either of you can answer this. Is the domino because of Rashada leaving? Or is the domino because now we have the infractions and we know what the NCAA is leveling against this university?
Jesse,
Levying, sorry.
Leviting.
No.
Boo. Get out of here.
Okay.
Just leave. Get out of here.
Jeremy, we're on camera. Come back here. All right, Jesse, you go ahead. Is it more the Badger leaving? Elijah Badger, by the way, has also declared his reason. He's going to transfer. Bryce Pierre, who's one of the tight ends, is also going to transfer. My question is this more of Jaden Rashada decided to leave, so now the rest will follow, or is this we now know how Arizona State's unit going to be punished the next 4 years?
I think it could be neither.
Neither
or neither, as they say on the East Coast. Shout out my Ron Wolfley reference there.
Gosh.
I think it could be neither because I think that it could just be one of these things where there's better NIL opportunities somewhere else, and so they're going after and taking that. And, even with or without the sanctions, if they had come down now or next year or whatever, if you have the opportunity to play for Alabama
Georgia.
or Georgia or ASU, I think that Badger might be just looking at things and be like, I'm really good. I've been playing really well for these 3-9 teams. I kind of want to go and play for a team that was just in the college football playoff and only lost because of, a bad offensive line mishap.
Here's what I'll say, Jesse and Mitch. I think what we've seen here is just a product of a bunch of different things, right? You could say that Jaden Rashada saw what was coming out. Maybe the team knew about what the investigation was going to say today, and that he left. I don't know if that was the case, or he just saw that he wasn't going to start here, right? But today, I think absolutely there's a cause and effect here, dude.
It could be.
Yeah.
I think it could be. It just could be like, okay, I'd like to play somewhere that's better. Assess the team after spring ball.
Can it be both?
It might just be a combination of everything.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of things.
Yeah.
So Badger's on his way out. Pierre's on his way out.
There's already 2 teams mentioned for Badger, by the way, which is Alabama, as Jesse mentioned, and then the other one's Texas A&M. So it sounds like he's going SEC regardless of where he ends up going.
Good for him. He's going to be a great
Look,
player.
as I echoed
and we also said this. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're good.
He's going to be a day 1 or day 2 draft pick next year.
I thought he was going to be a day 2 or early 3 draft pick last year, and he's still in college.
He's the best receiver that ASU has had since Brandon Ayuk.
Who was the best receiver that ASU has had since N'Keal Harry? Who was the best receiver that ASU has had since Jalen there's a list. I know. Anyway, what I was going to say
Don't forget about wide receiver DJ Foster.
What I was going to say was in reference to what we talked about yesterday with Frankie Collins, and I'm happy that he got out when he did, because he wasn't going to get the help necessarily to help propel his professional career here. Same goes for Badger. As much as I hate it, the same goes for Jaden Rashada. The same will go for Bryce Pierre. I don't know what his...
I think Bryce Pierre is probably going somewhere that he can play more.
Sure.
Honestly.
And the ASU was aggressive in bringing in a different tight end room. I'm sure
Yes.
Jason Mons has a different plan for that group.
Yes.
But yeah.
I did like what Bryce did. In his limited action, I thought he was a pretty good player.
But the point being is that, can we hate these players for leaving if it means a better opportunity at a place that is going to give them a better opportunity?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Absolutely not.
People criticize NIL. People criticize the transfer portal. But if it's available, why wouldn't you want to go take more money, play at a better program, if you can just leave and do it? I think pretty much anybody that we know would take a better opportunity, more money.
Yeah.
More money means less stress. It doesn't make you more happy, but it makes you less stressed. And I think it's the same deal with college athletes.
I thought mo money was mo problems. Did I have that wrong?
It can cause more problems. There's a lot more people that want things from you when you have a lot of money. But, I think that pretty much everybody in this room, given the same situation, would go take the bag and leave a school no matter how much you love that school.
All right, real quick before we move on to the basketball news. Here's some good stuff that came today.
Yay.
Adrian Wilson, not the same Adrian Wilson that we knew.
Not A-Dub?
No,
it's okay.
Not the Cardinals Ring of Honor member?
Correct. Adrian Wilson, wide receiver, 2025 class out of Texas, 6 foot 170, top 20 player in the class, top 200 overall. He is committed to ASU, cited Hines Ward as one of the biggest reasons that he's committed. Jesse, you didn't get to give your thoughts on Hines Ward yesterday. We did. Give us your thoughts on that, and now Wilson committing to ASU.
Okay, so Hines Ward was a great receiver in the NFL. That should lend to getting recruits. If these recruits are into their football history, I know it's been a little bit since Hines Ward actually played, which makes me feel old. But if they look into their football history, Hines Ward will be somebody that brings in his recruits. I hope that he is a good coach. Sometimes players of his caliber are not necessarily good coaches, but I don't know if you necessarily need amazing coaching because there's so many coaches on a football staff. I think he will bring in good recruits here, and that's what you need. And we see this with Adrian Wilson coming in already. A 4-star. I've been saying enough of the 3 stars. I want to see 4 stars and 5 stars. And here you go right away with Hines Ward. One weekend he's bringing in a guy that is a 4-star.
I think one of my favorite developments from this Kenny Dillingham tweeted from his own account today. He's like, no way Hines Ward is a great recruit. And like he types it out as he has to stop mid-sentence. And it's just a picture of Hines Ward with his hands clasped together. And you see the 2 Super Bowl rings. I love when Kenny gets fun like that.
So pro model?
Stop it. Don't ruin it. Please. Please do not ruin it.
Over to basketball, and I may ask Damon for his help on this a little bit because he knows a little bit more about these players.
Damon's got a producer mic today.
Yeah,
Let's
Damon,
go.
Can you crack the producer mic real quick, please?
Yeah, check. 1, 2.
Oh, look at that.
He even did the check.
Did
Let's
the mic
go.
check. Damon, tell us about these basketball players, or this one
Alston
basketball
Mason.
player.
Yeah, so Alston Mason is coming over from Missouri State. He was a very highly sought-after transfer, listed as 6'2", 175. Also played at Oklahoma before he played at Missouri State.
Yikes.
His father was Alton Mason, who was the starting point guard for ASU.
Legacy,
1998
baby.
To 01. Yeah.
We love that.
Legacy. He grew up in Phoenix for the most part, I believe. But he's a little bit of a DJ Horn style kind of guard.
Nice.
He can create his own shot.
So we're making it to the Final Four, is what you're saying?
We are making it to the Final Four. You heard it here first.
Well, we need a DJ Burns type to also go along with our DJ
We
Horn
need
type.
2
So where's
DJs,
that?
actually.
We need another find another Alston somewhere. That's a post, and then the Alston and
Is
then Alston.
Rafer still playing? Is Rafer still around? Does he have a son?
Rafer Alston. Shout out Rafer Alston.
No, what do the stats look like? How's he shooting and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
I
How
need to see.
how are the free throws?
3-point
we know
percentage and
Jesse
free
loves
throws.
his free throws.
Yep.
So Alston is a career 81.4%.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. Finally. Hopefully it doesn't just randomly drop off next season, but that is what ASU needs right there. Finally somebody that is that has an 8. That's all that I want to see. An 8-0 or an 8-1 in free throw percentage. It's just Bobby Hurley's offense, it's not the best. We know this. But his defense works so well that when you make your free throws, you can overcome some of the offensive struggles and win a lot of games. Thank God.
So, Jesse, unfortunately, with the good news comes a little bit of bad news for you. I know you're big on guards who can dunk.
I am?
Alston did not have. Yeah, Alston did not have a dunk last year on record. But yeah, 6'2", 175. You're probably not expecting that guy to be a big dunker.
So what you're telling me, he's
that
actually
much
150
that
soaking wet.
Yeah, 150 soaking wet, maybe 155.
Dunks are fun, but I mostly appreciate the fundamentals about the game.
Can we talk about now, because I think we have a clear understanding of this next core of Bobby Hurley's team. Adam Miller, who's retained. You've got Bashir Jihad, I hope I said that correctly, and then now Alston Mason. You've got now 3 guys who, it's not going to be like big 3 style sort of thing, but you bring in 2 solid shooters to now pair with another relatively solid shooter. We saw a lot of great games out of Adam Miller last year when he was given the primary touches as the shooter, right? Now you got 3 of those guys who can shoot at a high level and were with programs that were in very competitive games year in and year out, thinking about the guys that they're bringing in. I know it's not, maybe we shouldn't get overwhelmed by this, but I feel significantly better about the state of the team just based off of this trio of guys.
You know what I just thought of, and Jesse, that this is really funny. Do you think Bobby's brother doing well in college basketball is going to help Bobby in recruiting?
I mean, it might. It might. But, here's where I am a little bit hesitant on this. Again, it's not 5 times. But, Jose Perez basically left school 6 times in his college career. I'm not a huge... Now, I agree that it's okay to transfer and everything, but the people that are transferring to a 3rd school, 4th school, that kind of stuff, that makes me a little bit hesitant on if they're players that I want. And so this, Oklahoma to Missouri State, back, now at ASU, that's a lot of schools. So I don't know. That's a little bit of hesitation. Why can't he stick at one particular place? I mean, Missouri State, is a downgrade from ASU, so maybe he wants that upgrade, and that's just the sole purpose.
I mean, it is also kind of free reign right now when it comes to transfer portal because NCAA is suspended any sort of like investigations into current infractions, so players can kind of just go wherever they want to right now. I don't think that's going to happen this go around. Maybe we get one really solid season out of some of these guys, and then they go somewhere else, and we're back to square one again. We're kind of used to it at this point, are we not?
It's just a bunch of one-year contracts, like it feels like, honestly.
We got to give NIL contractual statuses. If you sign NIL, you got to be here for 2 years or something like that. Maybe that's the next step in the evolution of NIL in college sports.
You got a little football thing that you got, Jesse,
do.
over there?
And I just want to say, shout out to these message board sites today. They've been very helpful. Now, it's Devil's Digest.
Hoda.
And he posted an article, and this is the quote that he posted on Twitter. This is from Adrian Wilson. Again, not that Adrian Wilson, this Adrian Wilson. Me and Hines Ward had a conversation, and it solidified everything I need to hear. Not only is he somebody that's highly touted in the position, but he's someone that is very relatable.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're getting with Hines Ward.
Now, if he's anything like the other former NFL players that come into ASU, I don't want him here, but we'll hope that he's not.
Well, I trust Kenny when it comes to recruiting former NFL players a lot more than I trust the previous guy.
And I trust him to actually look at the things that his recruits are doing because he cares about this, or his assistant coaches are doing because he cares about this program.
He can learn from his predecessors' mistakes in that way.
Exactly.
Well, now they're on extensive microscopic watch.
But,
too.
I think it's a good question to ask Hines Ward. Like, hey, what's your
knowledge of NCAA
NCAA rules? Yeah, exactly. That is a great.
You going to the practice tomorrow, Jesse?
I am going to the practice. I got a lot to ask and talk about.
Who's
tomorrow.
the better coach, Ward, Brian or you, Mr. Hines? Yeah, we have to think about that now.
That's going to do
Just
it for
drop
this
that in.
edition of State of the Sun Devils. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on all forms of social media at AZ Sports Devils, including Threads, Jesse.
We have Threads?
Yeah, we have Threads. Also, if you are not watching this episode on YouTube, what are you doing? Please head over to our YouTube channel.
We changed the background photo for today.
Yeah, for today. I'll probably get a player, but then they'll probably transfer either way.
Stop it.
Anyway, yeah, you can find us on YouTube. It's just the Arizona Sports YouTube channel, or you can go to arizonasports.com or the Arizona Sports app, click on that video tab, and it's right there for you to see.
And to clarify, I'd like 50% of the people to go over there because I still want podcast ratings.
Stop it.
we want both.
Anyway, Jesse, thanks for undercutting my outro. I really appreciate everyone listening today, and my good friends Jesse Morrison and Mitch Ferreldis.
Good.
I'm Jeremy Schnell. Thanks again to Damon Allred behind the...
Damon!
I would say
go.
behind the glass, but that's just like
There's
couple
no
of cards
glass.
and stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully not tomorrow like we did 2 days in a row today.
Stop jinxing it.
All right, bye.